What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Rate Your Physique video. I gotta be so honest, guys, I did not expect this second Rate Your Physique to do as well as it did either. I had kind of mentioned on the first one, I was shocked how many people had submitted their physiques to be critiqued. And I honestly thought that with as good as the first one had gone, that I wouldn't get as good of a turnout for the second one. But this second one was just as good, if not better, than the first one. So that indicates to me that you guys are really enjoying these, and I'm really enjoying doing them as well. A lot of great physiques to go over today, and before we kind of get into things here, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, then you saw the first one. If you haven't, go check it out. I mean, what are you doing here if you haven't seen the first one? But just in case there are people who haven't seen the first one, I just kind of wanted to go over a little bit of the thought process behind the ratings and everything. A very simple 1 through 10 rating. The higher the number, the better the physique. And there are two different scales that we're going to use here. For those of you who just bodybuild recreationally and just love to train and live the lifestyle, you guys are going to have your own separate scale. And this would be what I would rate your physique. Like if you were to go to a beach and there was 1,000 people there, you know, I guess how would you rate among that? And then for people who either are currently competing or have expressed that they want to compete in the future, I'm gonna rank you on a competitor scale. In the first video, I kind of gave the competitors two different ratings, both like a general rating and then a competitor rating, but I'm not gonna do that this time around. I'm just gonna very clearly separate people into general population and then competitor rankings, and then where you would rank on a 1 through 10 in those. I had mentioned this on the first one, but for future references, because as well as these are going, this is very likely going to be a recurring thing. I had a lot of people who submitted their physiques to be critiqued to not submit adequate pictures. I just really want to reiterate that if you had submitted for this episode this week and you did not get picked, one, please don't give up, because I will continue to do more of these in the future. But there's a very good chance that I didn't choose your physique because the pictures that you had submitted just didn't show me what I needed to see in order to be able to fully critique those. So just please keep that in mind, guys. It's obviously nothing personal. But I kind of have to weed things out between who's kind of submitted adequate pictures and who hasn't. But getting out of that, all of that out of the way, you know, we'll just kind of jump right into our first physique here. I'm just gonna forewarn right off the bat, I'm gonna try as hard as I can with the names, but I'm so fortunate to have followers and viewers from all over the world. So some of the names I may struggle to pronounce, but just give me some grace, please. Starting off with our first physique, this is Ahmed Al-Iedani. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is 19, 5'11", and 197 pounds. The goal is to turn classic pro in 2027 and pursue bodybuilding as a career. And as of the time of these pictures that he has submitted, he is natural. Huge arms right away, looking at this front double bicep pose as the first one. Arms are huge. Really tight midsection as well. The back and the back double bicep pose looks really good as well. Nice and lean. I can see from the email that you're in the middle of a diet phase. Side tricep, huge triceps. I'm kind of noticing an area that could be improved, could be the legs. Quads look like they have some good shape to them. I think that you're holding a little bit more fat in your lower body compared to your upper body, so it is kind of somewhat difficult to compare, you know, what's size and what is the illusion of size. The front lat spread looks great. Again, I had mentioned earlier that you have a nice tight waist, and with those big arms, that front lat spread looks great. The rear lat spread is good. I think something that would improve the rear lat spread quite a bit would be some shoulders, particularly the side delts. Really good physique, man. A great vacuum in this overhead ab and thigh. So really good physique, man. I would say, especially for a 19-year-old, competitor scale, man, you're a solid like 5, 6 out of 10. You know, you had expressed that you want to be a pro, so I'm not comparing you to the local entry level shows here. If you express the goal that you want to be a pro, I mean, you gotta compare your physique with those people. So I'd say a solid like 5 out of 10. As far as points to address, I would address the legs, and just to be safe, all portions of the leg, the quad, hamstring, calves. Your upper body looks very good, but I think there's just a slight disproportion to the lower body. And then particularly in your upper body, your lats. Your arms look great. If you can bring your delts up a little bit, that's obviously going to help you a lot in classic, but lats are really going to set you apart in all divisions, honestly, but particularly classic physique. And then another thing, and this is just a nitpick, that I have. You had mentioned that the goal is to turn pro in 2027. I would encourage you and anyone who's listening to this video to not put a time frame on the goal that you're trying to achieve. If the goal is the goal, then you'll want to achieve it at any point. So, you know, whether you turn pro in 2027 or 2037 or whatever, you know, as long as you accomplish the goal, then I just really kind of see this a lot. A lot of people that will apply for coaching and they put these very rigid timelines on when they want to achieve things by, and I find it just really stresses the whole process out. You know, if you want to be a pro by 2027, you're gonna mentally struggle a lot to take a 1-week vacation, you know, let's say, without feeling like you're taking time away from reaching your goals. So that's not physique related, but that's kind of mindset related. But pretty solid physique, man. I'd say 5 out of 10 when you're comparing yourself at kind of like the higher level of physiques, and that's saying a lot considering that you're a natural 19-year-old. You look great, and you're one of those guys that if you stay the course, by the time you're like 25, you'll be a phenom. So just stay the course. You look great. Okay, next up we have Josh Kelly. Josh is 20 and 181 centimeters. And he weighs 74 kgs. As far as the goals, photo shoot in summer of 2026, and then plan to step on stage in the summer of 2027. Kind of something, you know, going back to what I had said before, just kind of, I do like the photo shoot summer 2026 goal, but as far as the competition goal, just don't be so rigid on timelines with that necessarily. As far as the physique, I would definitely say that your upper body is disproportionately a little bit better than your lower body, so I would focus heavily on your lower body, but I still think that your upper body, particularly if you're going to be looking to compete, is going to have some improvements to make. Some of these pictures aren't the best, but I can tell in this front most muscular pose that your shoulders, particularly the side delts, are a little underdeveloped. You have pretty solid arms. Your biceps look pretty good. And it looks like you have a good midsection, nice tight abs, and you can kind of see the outline of where your actual abdominal muscles are. So those look pretty good. As far as your upper body, I can't really, the back picture isn't really the best, but I would say you're kind of one of those people that just needs overall development everywhere, not particularly in one certain area. If you're looking to do well on stage, I would hammer your side delts and your legs, particularly. But this would be the kind of situation where I would recommend like a training split or a training approach where you're pretty much training everything relatively equally. You're not really trying to bias anything in particular, but you're trying to train the muscle groups as frequently as you can, and you know, stimulate the muscles to grow as frequently as you can. So an upper-lower split or full body training would be something that I would advocate here. As far, I'm going to compare because you have a goal to compete, but it's a ways away for you. And with the photo shoot kind of coming around the summertime, I'll just compare you on the general population scale, man. I'd say you're a solid like 6 or 7, 8 out of 10. I mean, you're looking pretty lean in some of these pictures here, man. There's not a lot of people, you know, who go to the beach, let's say, who would not want to look like this. So you look great. Now to make the step into you know, competition level physique, there's just a couple things that you're going to have to focus on. But obviously, you're from all the pictures that you sent me are all transformation pictures. So obviously, you know how to work hard and you know how to get results. It's just a matter of sticking to the plan, and that may take longer than what you think, which again, kind of going back to the whole putting a timeline on things. But overall, solid physique, man, and just keep hammering away, and you know, the stage will always be there. So just, and you're young, you're only 20, so just keep hammering away, man. Okay, next up is Brayden Markwordt. Brayden is 21 and 170 pounds. Goal is a pro card in a few years, and he is natural. The picture that you sent me with your upper body looks great, man. You look like you have great genetics for upper body. Shoulders, arms look really great. Abs are super chiseled out. Your lower body is noticeably behind where your upper body is. So as far as weak points and improving, definitely your lower body. I mean, I would maybe go an extreme route in this situation, and I would maybe train your lower body twice as frequently as you're training your upper body. So maybe doing a split where you only, let's say, train 3 days per week, and you know, 2 of those are lower body days, and then 1 day is an upper. So maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday and Wednesday being full lower body days, and then that or Monday and Friday being full lower body days, excuse me, and then that Wednesday day being an upper body day. And if you can recover from it, even throwing some leg stuff on that upper body day. So your upper body looks really good, and I can tell from your age and your genetics that your upper body is going to continue to grow, but you need to really hammer away on your lower body if you want to be if you want to get a pro card in any division, even men's physique, because if they haven't confirmed it by now, there are talks about men's physique raising the height of the trunks even more. And already the height of the trunks is already kind of to the upper quad. So if they're raising it even more, the legs are just going to become even more important. So I would really hammer away on your lower body. On a competitor scale, you're kind of on like the 3 or 4 out of 10 because of the big disparity with the lower body. You know, if you're standing in a lineup next to somebody who maybe they have a smaller upper body than you, but their legs are at least closer to their upper body, you will lose in a lineup for symmetry reasons. Or I guess not. I guess technically they wouldn't call that symmetry. That they would call that proportion. You know, your upper and lower half. But you understand what I'm saying. Just the overall flow of the physique is kind of skewed just because the legs are as behind as they are. So I would really be hammering away on those, especially if the goal is to be a pro. Next up is Cody Maynard. Cody is 28, 5'7", and 172 pounds. The goal is to get on stage for the first time, maybe late 2026. after another long push-up phase. From there, grow and just keep getting better. Starting with the front double bicep, I can see that your legs actually look pretty good. You've got some pretty good quads, even though they're not shredded. You can still see some separation there, and can kind of see what's going on. I can see from this front double bicep pose already that your lats are slightly behind. Arms look really good in the side chest, and even the legs look good in the side chest too. I think if you in your side chest, you're kind of cocked a little bit this way. If your chest was a little bit more level, I think we'd be able to kind of get a more accurate reading of where your pecs are at. The back double bicep, it looks like you're struggling to kind of open up your scapula there to really kind of fully show where your back is at. So that could also be contributing into the lats that I had said earlier, but I can still, even as we kind of get into the rear lat spread here, I can kind of see that the lats are just a little underdeveloped. But the arms look really, really good. I think if you really hammer down on your lats and your side delts, your side delts, particularly in that rear lat spread pose, the side delts kind of look like they're a little bit behind. But your arms look great and your legs look good as well. Side chest, well, actually, I kind of scroll a little bit further in the 7th picture, the side chest, huge hamstring drop on there, and the chest looks a little bit better. I would say you could afford to hammer on your chest as well, but in terms of a hierarchy, I would put your lats high, and then your side delts as a close second. So lats and delts, legs look great in the most muscular pose. You have great abs. The actual abdominal muscles themselves are pretty chiseled out. So with the goal to be competing in the near future, we will rate you on a competitor scale. I would probably put you somewhere in the 4 to 5 out of 10 range. Legs look really, really good, and arms look really good too. I had kind of mentioned this earlier on in the video. The lats are such an important muscle group for all divisions. So to have your lats be one of your weaker muscles that, if it isn't already, should be a huge focal point for you. And then the side delts are another muscle group that's extremely important in all divisions. So lats and delts, but your legs are really, really strong. And I would continue to keep doing what you're doing for your legs, because whatever you're doing for your legs is working. But I would either maybe revisit the exercises that you're doing for your lats, or maybe the way that you're executing those movements, and then from there you can kind of start to look at volumes and stuff like that. But usually it starts with execution. There's a really good chance that you think that you're targeting your lats and you're potentially not. So that would be, if it isn't already your biggest priority in training, I would learn to connect and identify with your lat muscles and feel your lat muscles working, and then obviously, progressing your list from there. Obviously that stuff is fairly simple, but lats. All right, next up we have Maximus Johnson. Max actually sent me an email after the first one, a couple days after I had already filmed it, so I told him to hang on to him until the second one, and he did resubmit. So shout out to you, man. Way to be persistent, I guess. Max is 21, and he's 5'7" and a half, and 173 pounds. The goal is he wants to lean bulk and put some more mass on your legs. He feels like they are lagging after multiple knee surgeries. No goals to compete or anything right now. I just lift for fun, and he also kind of wants to know if I could assess his body fat. So, man, this is one of those physiques that you look at and you just kind of feel bad about yourself, because this guy just lifts for fun and looks incredible. I would say that your legs are your obvious lagging body part. Obviously, with having knee injuries and everything, that is outside of your control. But kind of going back to what I had said with the previous physique that I had rated, that should be your number one goal within your training, is kind of finding effective ways that you can train your legs to be able to stimulate them without making your knees feel bad, and be able to kind of get those to catch up. And kind of going back a couple physiques, when you can do that, I would almost double the frequency of your leg training compared to your upper body, because your upper body is great. Your arms are ridiculous. I mean, these are nuts, and you know, don't take this the wrong way, but you're not even necessarily posing the right way, and your arms look big. So if you could learn to improve the posing, I mean, the bicep on the side chest and the tricep on the side tricep are just enormous. Bicep peaks in the front double here are nuts, and you have really thick, thick, chunky abs. I think for improving your upper body, your pecs and your lats and your chest isn't even that bad, particularly your lower pecs look pretty solid, man. Kind of more of the upper pec region, and then your lats. And then potentially some thickness to your back as well. I think that obviously I've mentioned a couple times, and you don't have any aspirations to compete, but just kind of wanting to look awesome. You know, lats are a big part of that, but your back also kind of look, particularly in like your upper back, kind of looks a little, I don't know if shallow is the word, but there could be some more thickness there for sure. So that would be your chest supported rowing movements, kind of focusing on the upper back. But priority number one would absolutely be your legs for sure. You had asked me to assess your body fat. I would say you're pretty lean, man. I would say maybe 9 to 11%. You know, you could be 9, you could be 10, you could be 11, you know, you could be somewhere in there, but you're pretty lean, and your legs are really tight. You know, obviously they're your lagging muscle group, but they definitely are. You're not holding any fat in that area in your lower body, so your legs look really, really good in terms of the condition. As far as general population physique, dude, this is like literally the general population physique. Like, I mean, you literally, you know, what does the average person at the beach want to have? They want to have massive arms and thick, rocked out abs, and you have that, dude. This is a legit like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 beach physique. Now, obviously you don't have any aspirations to compete, which is sad, because I think you'd be an unbelievable competitor if you could bring the legs up. But you know, as far as just kind of looking to get better, improving your lower body would be the biggest priority with that. But obviously that's not news to you. Next up is Giannis Tziras. I believe I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. Giannis is from Greece. At 25 years old, he is 5'8" and 169 pounds. The goal is to improve his physique, not necessarily planning to compete at any point. Another guy who I think, if he did set his mind to it, would be a great competitor. I mean, this is a really, really solid physique, as you guys will kind of see in the pictures here. Just another side note, you've been training about 5 years, 3 of them effective. You know, just kind of 3 of them knowing what he's doing in the gym and weighing out his food and everything. Really solid physique here, man. You know, we're gonna rate you on the general population scale, because you had mentioned that you don't have any aspirations to compete, but you could be a pretty solid competitor. Unfortunately, if you did decide to compete, your tattoo across your chest does kind of hurt you. But also, fortunately, they're kind of, I've seen some crazy like tattoo cover-ups for people on stage, so that may not necessarily even be a factor. As far as muscle groups to improve, I would say your side delts for sure. I can see the side delts and the rear lat spread a little behind. Arms look really, really good. Pecs could probably be a little bit bigger. You actually have some really good back thickness and density, but I think that your lats could also improve. I wouldn't say that your legs are poor by any means. I think in this instance, I'm looking at the overhead ab and thigh pose, and the quads, I think that you're kind of not really posing them the best, so it's kind of hard to get an accurate reading of what the true size of the quads are, but you have a great midsection. And honestly, dude, this is like one of those like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 beach physiques, man, especially with the tattoos. I mean, this guy's probably drowning in it. If he doesn't have like a wife or a girlfriend, this dude is swimming in it. So you look great. Next up is Nick Rogers. He's 27, 6'3". In the pictures, we have stage pictures. Let's go. In the stage pictures, he's 185 pounds, and as of the time of his email, he's 200 pounds. The photos attached are from my first competition, which was just earlier this year, so you just recently competed. Awesome. And a lifetime natural with a goal of achieving a natural pro card in the next 1 to 2 years. I would say right off the bat, unless life has a reason for it, just don't be so rigid on the timeline. Dude, you're shredded. I mean, you look awesome in the stage pictures. I would say my favorite of the pictures that you sent me is this rear double bicep here. Your back is just skinned out. Super lean. Hamstrings are nice and dug out, man. These are awesome stage pictures. You should be very proud of yourself. Just even making it to the stage is an accomplishment, but for you to be as shredded and as conditioned as you were in your first show is awesome. You look great. Now let's pick you apart, right? So I think that your lower body, particularly your adductors and your quads, adding to the overall width of the leg, could improve. I think that your hamstrings are actually pretty solid, and obviously you can get in shape so that you can actually see some true size of the hamstrings. A lot of people just don't get lean enough to even really be able to accurately tell what their hamstrings look like. So your hamstrings are kind of I would refer to this as like kind of piano chords. They're kind of dug out to where you can see each individual head. So I think that your hamstrings could improve, but I think that your hamstrings are pretty solid. In particular, the biggest thing that I'd be focusing on with your physique is overall width and thickness of the leg, which is going to come from your quad and it's going to come from your adductor. So I would be living on the adductor machine, leg extension, hack, leg press, whatever it is that you have available to you. As far as your upper body, you have some pretty solid arms. Chest looks great in the side chest. Actually, when I kind of look at some of your other pictures, I kind of think, your chest could improve, but in the side chest, your pecs look big and full. Kind of going back to the legs, I think the side chest pose would look awesome with a bigger hamstring drop and then more quad sweep, on the outer head of the quad there. And then lats, and just simply because lats for there are very few people on the planet who couldn't afford to have bigger lats. So just continuing to hammer away there, just to kind of place that in a hierarchy, leg thickness, quad, and adductor, and then probably your lats for the second area of improvement there. But you look really solid, man. For competitive rating, again, I'm going to rate him at, he's a natural guy, going to do trying to earn a natural pro card, so we'll kind of rate him on that scale there. I'd say this is like 5 to 6. That is very close to being a 6 to 7. You can do it. Your goal is definitely achievable. I think that you have some particular areas that you need to improve on, as everybody does, but you've been training, it says, for 8 years now, so you're pretty experienced, and as I'm sure that you are experiencing right now, you sound like you have a very similar journey to me. I trained for about 7 years before I did my first show, and you know, kind of finally checking the box and saying you did it. You know, up until that point, you've been training for 7 years, kind of imagining what it's like to do a bodybuilding show, and then you finally actually get to do it, and now it's no longer just something that you've been thinking about, it's actually something that you've achieved. And so for me, after finally having done it, it really just made me find a new level of motivation and kind of be able to shift into a new gear in terms of work ethic. So I'm sure that you're probably experiencing that right now, and if you can kind of channel that in a strategic way to improve your lagging body parts, the goal is achievable for you. I would say, as I've just said a couple times, maybe not be so strict on the timeline, but you can achieve that goal. So keep plugging away, man. You look really, really good. Next physique is Amirsam Haghi. Again, cut me some slack with the names. He is 14, very young, 5'9", 65 kilos, lifting for only 6 months. Love bodybuilding, super passionate about it. Would like to know if my genetics are good enough to make it far in bodybuilding. So I'll stop you right there. You know, you're too young and you've not been lifting for long enough to even be considering the G word. The G, genetic word, is a word that I feel like just kind of gets tossed around pretty loosely, and I just wouldn't even, especially at your age, man, like the only question that you need to ask yourself is, do I like this? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you just need to do it. You are far too young to think about genetics or potential or trying to do this as a career. At your age, you need to just simply do it just because you like it, and that's the only way that you're going to reach that goal in the first place is being able to do it. Because even if you were 14 and you had the best genetics in the world, it's still going to take you somewhere between 5 to 10 years just to be able to get to the point where you're even going to achieve that. And if you're only doing this purely because you think that you have potential or you're gonna make a career out of it or something, then that doesn't work out for everybody, and statistically it does not work out for most people. So you just need to kind of do this simply because you like it. In terms of the physique, man, I think for someone who is as young as you are and has been training for as short of a period of time as you are, I do think that you have a pretty solid foundation. Again, just as far as genetic potential and everything like that, man, you're gonna, ask me that question again in when you're 24. Ask me that question again in 10 years. I think that's just not even worth discussing at this point of your age. But I'm gonna compare you just on a general population scale because you've only been doing this for 6 months. So the talk of competition is just super far down the line. And for being a 14-year-old, I mean, you're probably like a solid like 7, 8 out of 10, man. There probably aren't as many 14-year-olds that have shoulders like you, and you even have some pretty decent legs for your age. So I think if you just hammer away at this purely because you love it, I think that you'll discover a little bit more about your genetics than I possibly could. Next up, we have Jarid Shearn, who is 43, 6'1", and 205 pounds, looking to compete in a bodybuilding competition next year as a bucket list, which is awesome. Masters is growing, man. Masters is awesome. And, for those of you guys who are unfamiliar, they have a couple different Masters classes, and it's going to kind of depend on the show. Most of them will have like a 35 and older class, a 45 and older class, a 55 and older class anyways, but Masters is growing, and Masters is awesome. So this is a Masters competitor that we would be looking at here. So I'm going to kind of rank you on a master's competitor scale. So right away I can see that you can get lean, which is in your best interest, obviously, for competing. And in particular, you're pretty lean in the legs. One of the things that I notice with masters competitors is that their legs are typically disproportionately behind their upper body, not only in terms of size, but of condition as well. Interestingly enough, I think that your legs may be around the same as where your upper body is. If you've made it this far in the video, I've just mentioned a bunch of times that lats are really important for competing, and in the front lat spread pose, admittedly, there are some things that could help with the way that you're hitting that pose, but your lats are just not very profound in that particular pose. You have some really good looking biceps, but in the side tricep pose that you send me, again, could be you're just not flexing it hard enough, but the tricep seems to be a little underdeveloped there. So I think that you'll do pretty good on a master's stage. I would say probably like a 4 or 5 out of 10. It looks like you can get really lean, and again, particularly in your legs, which is where a lot of masters guys struggle. So that's an advantage to you. And again, as far as being able to really accurately gauge your upper body, I think that there's some posing improvements that could be made there. But if you're just doing it for a bucket list and you're just doing it to enjoy it, then obviously moving hell and high water to make sure that you're at your absolute best may not be your biggest priority, which is also totally fine. I can't believe that I haven't mentioned that yet at any point during this video, but again, just because you're competing doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be a pro. You just maybe want to, most people that compete just want to compete to step on stage and just be competitive at something, and it's really kind of only more up until recently that it seems like everyone is competing because they have the goal of trying to make a career out of it. So obviously at your age, that's probably not your goal. So it's just, I would strongly encourage you to do it, and you'll have a great time, and you'll meet a lot of people, and it may encourage you to do another one. And as I said a couple of physiques ago, that'll help you find a new found motivation in your training that maybe you haven't had before or you haven't had in a while. So I would, if you're thinking about doing it as like a bucket list thing, I'd strongly recommend it, man. Next is Trevor. Trevor Hand is 17, 5'8", 155 pounds, just trying to get bigger. Don't plan on competing or hopping on unless I start to look really cool. This kind of goes in hand with one of the physiques that I had mentioned earlier. I think that you're pretty lean, and I think that you're in a lean enough spot to where you could be in a bulking phase if you're not already. And I would be doing some sort of training split where you're training everything relatively equally and as frequently as you possibly can. So full body training, upper lower training. Obviously at your age, you're relatively a relative beginner, so you're still in your prime years of growing. So you'll be able to pack on some size pretty quickly if you kind of get on like a strong plan and commit to kind of pushing the body weight up and pushing your strength up and everything that kind of goes into that. But as far as I don't want to say natural, as far as like the general population physique, kind of going to the beach, like I said, man, you're pretty lean, and in particular you can see your serratus and everything, which are kind of like the fish scale looking muscles that are kind of up here. And if you're on a beach or something like that, man, and you're looking pretty lean, and you've got some serratus poking out, and you've got some bicep veins and stuff in the side chest pose that you're sending me, you're gonna look better than 95% of the people that are there. So I would definitely rate this on like You know, compared to other 17-year-olds your age, you're probably like a solid like 6 or 7 out of 10. Obviously, there are 17-year-old freakazoids out there, but you're not one of them. But I would just kind of keep plugging away. And again, you're still super young and should just be doing this because you enjoy it at this point, and just hammering away at the gym because you love it. Next is Chris. Chris goes by Tactical Physique on social media. Chris is 38, 6'2", and 210. He's done with competitions at his age, and his goal is to kind of gain about 10 pounds of muscle over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. Chris, you had sent me 2 sets of pictures, and the ones that I'm going over are the second set just because the lighting is all the same. First of all, super lean, man. You look great for your age, and this kind of goes back to a physique that I had mentioned earlier. You're lean and you're covered in tattoos, so at the beach, dude, everyone wants to look like you at the beach. I guess in terms of lagging body parts, you know, you don't have any aspirations to compete, so you probably don't care, but legs, I think, are a little bit behind your upper body, but upper body looks pretty solid. Lats are still nice and wide, really thick, blocked out abs. Chest looks great, arms and shoulders look good, and in this front most muscular pose, you're looking pretty solid. I think the side tricep pose would look a little better if you posed it a little bit differently, but even in the picture here, you have a nice slim waistline, and again, I had said earlier that your arms are pretty solid. Back double bicep, you have a Christmas tree in your lower back, so I had said earlier that you're lean, but that obviously verifies it. Man, this is a solid like 7 or 8 out of 10 beach physique. Like I said, man, everyone wants to be this guy at the beach. So you look great, man, and at your age, kind of heading into your 40s. I know everyone says that everything kind of falls apart in your late 30s, but I think that that's just not even the case for you. I think that you've still got another gear yet that you can hit, and obviously if the goal is to put on some more muscle yet, then you know it's there. Next up is Jan. Jan is 40, 5'10", 190 pounds. Been training for about 3 years. Goal is to put as much muscle on as you can before age slows it down. Would think it would be cool to step on a stage, but most likely too late with that. You are definitely wrong on that. As I said earlier, Masters is extremely competitive, so there is no such thing as too late. Be curious what you think would be most critical for me to work on, and it would be fun just in case, just doing it for fun, not trying to be a pro. So I would say in terms of improvements, I would look at your legs and your lower body. I kind of feel like the quads are maybe a little underdeveloped. Your arms look pretty solid, and in the rear relaxed pose that you're sending me, your lats look pretty solid too. Side chest doesn't look too bad. I would say as far as areas to focus on improving, I would focus on your lats and your legs, in particular your quads and the adductors, kind of going back to one of the earlier physiques that I had critiqued earlier. The overall thickness of the leg with the quad and the adductor would be the big things that I would focus on here. General population physique, man, for being 40, a lot of people who are 40 years old look worse than this, so you just kind of keep that in mind. I would say on like a general population scale, probably like a 5.5, 6 out of 10, somewhere in there. I think if you, I don't know what your diet habits are, obviously, but I think if you tightened up the diet and kind of leaned out a little bit, not only would that give you a good starting point for you to start a bulk on, where you could focus on improving your legs and your lats, but I think that would help accentuate those muscles even more, and just kind of getting a little bit leaner would move you from, let's say a 5 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. So I'd kind of focus on locking in on the diet and then focus in on the legs and your lats. Our final physique is Daniel Louwrens. Daniel is 29, 6'4", and 260 to 265. Daniel and I have been following each other on Instagram for a while, so not that it's relevant to the physique, but Daniel is actually vegan, which just completely, you know, people say that vegans can't build muscle as well, and Daniel just absolutely laughs in your guys' face. So Daniel has competed a couple times since we've been following each other on Instagram, and every time that he competes, he gets pretty shredded. In particular, his most recent show, I thought was the leanest that he's been. I'm sure he'd probably agree with that. In terms of areas to improve, Daniel is pretty tall. Unfortunately, one of the things that tall guys kind of get screwed with is they kind of get screwed with their arms and just generally their limbs overall, but Daniel actually has pretty solid legs, so I don't know if that really applies to his legs, but I think the arms would probably be one of the biggest areas to improve. He has pretty good lats, but I think if he could bring the lats up even more. And then unfortunately he didn't send me pictures from the rear with his lower body, but another thing that these taller guys can sometimes get screwed with is hamstrings from the posterior. Daniel is a very strong deadlifter, so that's probably not a problem for him, but obviously without having any pictures to verify that, it's hard to kind of go with that. Because Daniel is so tall and so heavy, he has to, I would assume, compete in the super heavyweights. I don't know what they call it. I believe that Daniel lives in South Africa, so they may have different names for the weight classes and stuff over there, but in the US he would be a super heavyweight, and usually the people who are in the super heavyweights are just the absolute monsters that go on to win pro shows and be at the Olympia and everything. So I rate him as like a 5 out of 10 on the competitor physique, simply because he just gets screwed with being tall. With him being tall, his weight is naturally going to be heavier, and so he's going to have to go against like the freakazoids basically in every single one of his classes. But the other redeeming factor about being tall is that a good big guy always beats a good little guy. So if he can bring up the muscle groups that he needs to, and the goal is to be 286 on stage, then if he can bring that, then it's definitely possible for him to make some noise, and I'm hoping that we see it. All right, guys, thank you all so much for everyone who took the time to submit their pictures, and for those of you guys who did and did not get picked, please don't be discouraged. I will do more of these. Again, probably the reason I didn't pick your pictures was because the pictures weren't the best, so I would encourage you to take some better pictures, and we'll be able to kind of critique those as we go through. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have any questions or anything, as always, please feel free to leave them in the comments of the video. And as always, guys, thanks for watching and take care of yourselves.